I'm Izzy, 28 years old, a stay-at-home wife in my third year of marriage. I live with my husband Tom, who is 30, our 1-year-old daughter, and my in-laws, who are nearing retirement, making us a household of 5. I met Tom 4 years ago. Back then, I had just landed a job after a fierce job hunting battle, aiming to become a career woman, working hard every day. My dream was to marry a wonderful partner I had yet to meet, and lead a trendy dual-income lifestyle. Our newlywed life started in a slightly upscale apartment in the city center. We drove a luxurious foreign car. I was smoothly climbing the career ladder, step by step, moving closer to my dream. Tom joined my company as a mid-career hire. Our company was involved in the creation and sales of character merchandise, and I worked in the planning and production department, contributing to new project proposals and productions. While I continued to make strides with each new project proposal being accepted, Tom struggled to grasp and explain our products, which was understandable for a new mid-career hire still learning about our offerings. Other sales colleagues had asked me to help him out until he became more familiar. For a while, I accompanied Tom to his clients to help explain our products. After sales visits, we often went for tea or meals together, sharing our ideals and aspirations for the future. During one of those days, sitting in the passenger seat of the sales car, Tom proposed to me, saying, "I will make you happy for the rest of your life. Let's make our ideal future come true together." At that moment, I couldn't have imagined that this marriage would become a huge mistake. I now deeply regret not having looked more closely at Tom's character. Looking back, I can't help but wonder if his proposal, "I will make you happy," was actually a slip of the tongue for, "I will make you unhappy." Tom had laid out an ideal scenario: no living with in-laws, and continuing work was fine. Household chores would be done by whoever was capable of doing them. Deceived by such cliché phrases, I believed a dream life awaited us, trusting the words of a man whose substance was as thin as paper. I'm truly ashamed of my lack of judgment in people. It was early in our marriage. We were relaxing in the living room after coming home from a client meeting. Even though we were supposed to build our life together, suddenly, Tom said, "I want to quit my job." His reason was, "I want to do something different." My dream of a trendy, dual-income lifestyle started to crumble with a loud noise in my heart. Upon inquiry, it turned out he had never stuck with a job for long, boasting a surprisingly long list of past jobs. He bragged staying for a year this time was his longest record. It made me wonder how he managed to get hired by our company in the first place. But now, with a family, continuing to live as before would lead to disaster. I urged Tom to realize his responsibilities as the head of the household. However, Tom said, "Izzy, you can build your career at that company. I want to try a different job." Ignoring my objections, he quickly submitted his resignation. Tom's rash actions left me questioning. What about the high rent for the apartment we got, thinking we'd both be working? My salary alone can't cover it, not to mention the loan for the furniture we were so keen on. Faced with his selfishness, I confronted him, only to be met with, "If worst comes to worst, we can live at my parents' house. Before that, I'll find a new job. I'll show you how to step up to a comfortable life without working hard. The future is about living on passive income." He said this nonchalantly. "What do you mean, live comfortably on passive income?" "People who achieve that work hard in ways you don't see." But Tom wouldn't listen. In these times, when companies are downsizing, finding a job isn't as easy as before. Especially with Tom's extensive history of job changes, it made it difficult to find employment. As expected, he quickly grew tired of job hunting, finding only easy part-time jobs and spending his days idly. Seeing no other option to avoid eviction, we reluctantly moved in with Tom's parents. following his "until I find a new job" promise. Upon moving in, my hardships as a housewife began. Tom had unilaterally promised his parents that I would contribute my salary for living expenses and take on all household chores, starting my day before 6 a.m. to prepare breakfast for everyone, followed by cleaning and laundry, then off to work. By the time I finished dinner and bath preparations, it was already past midnight. With no time or money for socializing, my life became a cycle between my in-laws' house and work. When I asked Tom for help, he simply said, "If it's too hard, why don't you just quit your job?" Whose fault did he think this situation was? His irresponsible words left me exhausted, both mentally and physically, unable to make sound decisions. Swayed by Tom's naive wish for an easy life, I resigned from my job, becoming a full-time housewife. After having our daughter, my situation worsened. Suffering from severe morning sickness, my mother-in-law's lack of sympathy, I worked right up until I gave birth. "Since you're not bringing in any money, you should at least work harder around the house," made me feel even more trapped. I considered fleeing to my parents' house but didn't want to worry them. And, of course, no one helped with the baby after she was born. Overwhelmed by household duties and child-rearing, I felt increasingly desperate. Something had to change. I couldn't continue living this way. The first step was to gain financial independence. It was clear that Tom, who couldn't hold down a job, was unreliable. I needed to find a solution on my own. Looking at my daughter's toys and baby items, I remembered the work I used to do. It wasn't that I disliked my job, circumstances forced me to leave. There was still so much I wanted to do. Maybe, I thought, I could turn what I wanted to do into reality by starting my own shop. If I could work at my own pace, I wouldn't be a burden to anyone. And I could even start saving for moving out to end this cohabitation. Between caring for my daughter and doing household chores, I thought about launching a web shop with original character designs and accessories I had been planning right before I quit my job. One day, while working on my PC during some free time in our room, my mother-in-law caught me and accused me of not doing housework and just playing around, almost shutting off my computer on the spot. To her, it must have seemed like I was just playing. I quickly grabbed my PC and explained that I was working on starting a business. I tried to explain that it could be profitable, but she dismissed it, saying, "Just some childish nonsense. You're just pretending to work to avoid doing house chores, aren't you?" She yelled without giving me a chance to explain. Opening the shop's website to show her, I insisted, "This is a real job." But no matter how much I argued, she retorted, "Don't use up electricity when you're not making any money. If you keep defying me, I'll have you divorce my son and leave." She was completely unwilling to listen and even showed me a divorce paper out of nowhere. Then, hearing our argument, my father-in-law and Tom, who had been watching TV in the living room, came in. Tom's first words were not in my defense, but rather supporting his mother. "Mom's right. You can't skip housework to play around. With electricity prices soaring, don't waste money you can't pay." He was backing up his mother. Huh? Even Tom himself only works a measly 2 to 3 hours a day, right? Aren't you supposed to be on your wife's side as a husband? Far from it, Tom said, "Don't take it the wrong way. Actually, I've been thinking the same as Mom. A wife who doesn't make money is just freeloading and useless. Didn't I tell you? I want to live an easy life. I want a wife who makes that possible." While saying what he wanted, he finished writing and stamped the divorce paper right in front of me. "Are you serious about this?" When I asked, shocked by his outrageous statement, he handed me the divorce paper, saying, "Of course, I'm serious. Just sign this whenever you feel like it." No rush to leave. Just find the right time. Oh, and don't worry about custody, I don't want it. It's going to get in the way of my remarriage. An even more despicable response came back. What? Was I really married to this kind of person? I was at a loss for words. As if to add insult to injury, even my in-laws chimed in. We won't have time for the grandchild until retirement. And we'll just have the next wife give us one, so we're giving you the custody. Such typical words from such people. What is this family? I suppressed the urge to leave immediately and started preparing for a life with my daughter. I delved into research on current trends and young people's preferences, launching new characters one after another. Perhaps due to my efforts, one character caught on with the youth and became a hit. Word spread quickly through social media, leading to repeat customers and people starting to wear accessories featuring my character. My web shop took off, and I even registered my brand name. Offers for collaborations came in from major companies and my former employer. And before I knew it, the web shop grew into a business making $5 million a year. As my shop became a hot topic on social media, it naturally attracted media attention and was featured on morning TV news, making Tom and my in-laws aware of my success. When my shop was featured on various TV news channels as the talk of the town, Tom and my in-laws began making a fuss at breakfast. Isn't this our Izzy's shop? Hey. Izzy. What? Without turning around, I responded, and he eagerly asked. This is about you, right? Making $5 million a year? Yeah, it seems so. Dealing with their prying felt too bothersome, so I responded vaguely. Suddenly, my mother-in-law totally changed her attitude, praising. Izzy, you should have said something. We have a wonderful daughter-in-law. Never before had she praised me. Even my father-in-law, who had never complimented me, started cooing. That's my son's wife. Well done. Their blatant attempt to cozy up to me upon hearing about my income made me sick. Then, Tom suddenly clapped his hands together decisively, saying, All right. I have an idea, and began whispering with my in-laws, smirking all the while. I had no interest in whatever their idea was and carried on with my daily routine of cleaning and laundry after everyone left for work. Around noon, after finishing hanging the laundry on the balcony, I returned to the living room to find Tom and my in-laws seated on the sofa, drinking coffee. I thought you went to work. Before I could finish, Tom announced, we did go. And we all just quit our jobs. Shocked. I repeated, quit your jobs? All of you? How will we live? Tom, overly excited, declared, What are you talking about? We're set for life now. We have an annual income of $5 million. He suggested making him and his parents executives of my company with a monthly salary of $10,000 each. As if it were the most natural thing in the world. Astonished by their audacity, I faced Tom, who was expecting my approval, and asked, Why would you guys be executives of my shop? Predictably, he replied, Because we're your family. To which I responded, Family? I'm single, shocking Tom into silence. Listen, I'm single. I don't have a husband or in-laws anymore. We've been divorced for a while now. I informed them that I had promptly filed the divorce papers they had given me. What? No way. It's true. As panic set in, not just for Tom but also for my in-laws, they began to backpedal, claiming their previous statements were just a joke to motivate me, insisting I was still part of their family. They even suggested retrieving the filed divorce papers, an absurd notion. Amid their excuses, the moving company I had arranged arrived. I had secretly found and signed for a new place when my shop started to take off. Ignoring the flustered ex-in-laws, I directed the movers, and once everything was packed, I left the house with my daughter by taxi, leaving them to watch us leave in stunned silence. Later, Tom and his parents, now jobless and desperate, called me, begging for employment. Without any income and with pensions still out of reach, they were in dire straits. Tom pleaded, "Help us. We can be regular employees." But I firmly refused. Impossible. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm no longer your wife or part of your family. I have no reason to help you. Don't contact me ever again. With that, I put an end to any further communication, finally free to live my life on my own terms. Since then, I've stayed away from the city where my ex-husband and his parents live, having no desire to ever interact with them again. Even if I didn't help them, they will probably live by applying for the social safety net in this country with welfare. On my end, my business has grown to the point where I needed to hire a few employees. And we're still expanding. Instead of Tom and his parents, my own parents, who have retired, have stepped in to fill the coveted executive positions he had once aspired for. My beloved daughter has also started talking and walking, making every day joyful enough to erase the dreadful years we endured together. Now, we spend our days happily, focusing on the future and leaving the past where it belongs.